Welcome back to 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitsky. We begin with the latest on the coronavirus in Kern County. We have now passed another grim milestone. Our death toll has climbed over 700 deaths. Now, today was a dramatic day in reported deaths as well. Public Health announced 37 new deaths. Most of the deaths were from December and January, but some date back all the way to October. No new deaths were reported from February. Our death toll now stands at 727. Public Health also reports 308 new cases. Currently, 16,000 people are recovering at home from the virus. 233 people are in the hospital with more acute symptoms, according to state data. 53 are in the ICU. And today marks 1 year since the tragic library fire that took the lives of two civil servants in Tulare County. One of them, a fire captain with roots in Delano. 17's Ileana Capiana is in Porterville at what now remains of the once beloved community center. Ileana.
1 year later, and the library that once stood here looks completely different. But the image of the flames burns in the minds of the family and community members. Live to leave legacy, die to fulfill destiny. Those are the words Captain Ray Figueroa's father remembers his son living by. A year later, the family and community still mourning the loss of two firefighters from Station 71 in Porterville.
Their memory not being forgotten, that we hope that will prevent from another incident like that happening and other families having to go through what we're going through.
Figueroa himself is a retired police chief. He knows the meaning of putting your life on the line.
I was aware of all the dangers behind it, so every day I would say, I hope, you need to be careful, and I prepare myself, but you're never going to be 100% prepared if it finally does affect you.
This year, due to the pandemic, an anniversary memorial will be posted on the Porterville Fire Department's Facebook page today at 4. The families of Captain Figueroa and firefighter Patrick Jones will be presented with the California State Firefighters Association Purple Heart medals and certificates. The Porterville Fire Department has also established traditions to honor their fallen brothers on this anniversary.
Captain Ray Figueroa had an affinity for axes, and the axe I carry in my truck is a gift from Ray. So the tradition that we have with the axes is based on Ray's affinity for axes, and so during that day, everybody will be maintaining our axes in the department.
The fire department will also be holding a moment of silence on their dispatch channel at 4:16 p.m. This is to recognize the Mayday call that came in for the library fire.
And that you have a brotherhood and sisterhood that takes place within it. When one of us fall, it affects everybody across the board.
Okay, we have a heavy smoke coming out of the front of the library.
All right, and a massive blaze erupts at a former tire shop in Lamont overnight. Now, according to Kern County Fire Department, 38 firefighters responded to the scene. Fire personnel say the fire started just after midnight on the corner of Wharton Avenue and Main Street. Due to the height and intensity of the blaze, nearly 40 members of the fire department were called out to battle that fire, including 2 ladder trucks and 3 battalion chiefs. Once firefighters arrived, they were concerned the flames would spread to nearby businesses, which still had employees inside at the time.
We were able to go defensive on this fire from the onset due to the heavy fire involvement and the exposures. We were able to safely evacuate employees from the packing shed. There were no injuries to report. We do have a department safety officer on scene overseeing operations to help keep our firefighters safe and the public at this time.
Arson investigators are working to determine what caused the fire. And 2 people are dead and another 2 seriously injured in a single car crash on Ming Avenue overnight. According to Bakersfield police, the car was heading eastbound on Ming Avenue near the Kern County Fairgrounds when the car veered to the right, striking a utility pole. The car then hit another object, splitting the vehicle in half on impact. BPD says a man was ejected from the car on impact and pronounced dead at the scene. Police also found a woman in the damaged car who was pronounced dead. 2 other men suffered major injuries and were transported to Kern Medical. BPD has not released if drugs or alcohol were involved. If you have information, call BPD at 327-7111. And police are searching for a man who attacked another with a machete this morning. According to Bakersfield Police, the assault happened around 5:50 on Gosford Road, just south of White Lane. Police say the victim suffered minor injuries. BPD is looking for a Hispanic man in his 40s, 5'8", 140 pounds, wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans. The suspect fled on a bike. BPD says 3 people were detained on Ash Road in connection to this incident. All right, Monsignor Craig Harrison has decided to leave the priesthood. Now, the attorneys for Monsignor Harrison are currently holding a press conference to announce his departure. The pastor of Bakersfield St. Francis Church is the subject of multiple investigations after allegations of sexual misconduct surfaced in 2019. The priest has maintained his innocence, but has been removed from his duties after the first accuser came forward.
ET phone home, and that's kind of what is happening right now. And I want to bring in a special guest right now. It's Katie O'Sullivan. She's joining me right now. She is CSUB Planetary Geologist. And today, this has got to be a huge day for you, Katie, to see this actually taking place.
This is so exciting. Whenever we land something on Mars or another planet, it's just inspirational to everybody. And I'm really excited about this mission because we're specifically looking for signs of life, ancient life on Mars. And that's a really exciting question for every human being.
So this rover will have drills and that sort of thing. Talk a little bit about what their plan will be once the rover lands.
So we're going to rove around Jezero Crater, looking at the ancient lake sediments and the ancient river deposits. And if we find a really cool sample, what we're going to do is cache it. We're going to stick it in a metal tube, and then we're going to leave it on the surface. And then later, another mission might come and pick those samples up. And so we're only going to pick the most interesting rock samples up and then bring them back to Mars later in a future mission.
Bring it back to Earth from Mars. And we're talking about 3 billion years ago, kind of what NASA believes this crater was, a lake. So if there was water, that's why we're so interested in what's in the soil, right?
Exactly, because everywhere we see life on Earth, it's associated with water. So that's where we're going to go look for life on Mars.
And the other real cool thing about this is this capsule and this rover has so much technology involved of how this will enter the atmosphere of Mars and be dropped off, which is pretty impressive.
It's a crazy landing sequence. This rover is the size of a small SUV, so it has to be very gentle. We can't crash it into the planet with just a parachute anymore. So the autonomy of this landing is just simply fabulous in terms of how technologically advanced it is.
Yeah, I was watching some video, and it actually has all these lasers. So as this rover makes its final approach onto Mars, it is going to basically map the surface of Mars before it actually lands to make sure it lands in a safe spot, which is just incredible that something like this can actually happen.
Exactly. I mean, when Neil Armstrong was doing this back in the 60s, he had to do it, at game time decisions. And now we can program robots to do that. It's amazing.
Once the capsule finds a safe spot for it to land, it will basically, think of a crane machine. Kids always love a crane machine, right? Well, the crane machine is going to lower it down and then release the hooks, and then Perseverance is going to make its mission all around Mars, collecting all those samples. So if you are going to want to watch this, again, we will have it on our website, kgt.com. Back over to you.
In your 17 Business Watch, first-time claims for unemployment jumped to a new 4-week high. Now, 861,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. That is higher than analysts' expectations of 773,000. Continuing claims, or the number of people receiving benefits for 2 or more weeks, dropped to just under 4.5 million. This comes as applications for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program rose by more than 174,000, up to more than 516,000. The Pandemic Unemployment Program is the federal program designed for people not traditionally allowed to apply for unemployment assistance, like self-employed and gig workers. The new numbers suggest the labor market is still facing setbacks, despite signs that the coronavirus pandemic is slightly getting better.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.